It started with a simple transmission from Europa colony. Dr. Sarah Chen, lead archaeologist, had discovered something in the ice that would change humanity's future forever. The artifact was unlike anything humans had ever seen. A perfect sphere of unknown metal, pulsing with an inner light that seemed to respond to human presence. Within hours of its discovery, 3 massive vessels appeared in orbit around Jupiter. They weren't the sleek, artistic designs humans had imagined first contact might bring. Instead, they were angular, aggressive shapes that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Their message was simple: return what is not yours. Commander Elena Rodriguez of the Europa Research Station knew humanity wasn't ready for this moment. Earth's combined space forces consisted of a handful of patrol ships designed for maintaining order among the solar colonies, not facing an advanced alien civilization. But she also knew that backing down now would set a dangerous precedent. "This is Commander Rodriguez of the Europa Research Station," she broadcast. "We welcome peaceful dialogue and cultural exchange. The artifact was found within our sovereign territory during authorized archaeological research." The response came in the form of a weapon none of them had ever seen before. A beam of something that wasn't quite light struck the station's communications array, transforming the metal into crystal before shattering it into dust. The message was clear. The aliens weren't interested in dialogue. As emergency protocols activated across the station, Rodriguez made 2 calls. The first was to Earth, warning them of what was coming. The second was to Captain Maya Williams of the UEA's Hyperion, currently on patrol near Mars. The Hyperion wasn't much, an oversized patrol vessel with more armor than weapons, but it was the only military ship within range of Europa. "They're going to come for the artifact," Rodriguez told Williams over their encrypted channel, "and they're not going to care how many of us die in the process." Williams' response was immediate: "Already en route. But Commander, you should know, we're not alone out here anymore. I've detected at least 15 more of those ships entering the solar system." In the next 48 hours, humanity learned several harsh lessons about the galaxy. They weren't the first civilization to discover one of these artifacts. They weren't the most advanced species in space. And most importantly, they weren't going to surrender just because someone bigger showed up and demanded it. The aliens, calling themselves the Nexus Concordat, had expected humanity to capitulate immediately. Their calculations, based on analyzing Earth's visible technology level, gave humans a 98.7% chance of surrendering when faced with such overwhelming technological superiority. They hadn't accounted for human stubbornness. While the Concordat ships positioned themselves for what they assumed would be a simple retrieval operation, humans across the solar system were mobilizing. Mining ships began converting their rock-cutting lasers into weapons. Civilian vessels transformed into impromptu troop transports. And in a secret facility beneath the Martian surface, engineers worked frantically to complete humanity's first true warship, a vessel that would turn the Concordat's assumptions about human capabilities upside down. Dr. Chen, meanwhile, hadn't been idle. As the station's security teams prepared for possible boarding actions, she continued studying the artifact. "It's responding to us," she reported to Rodriguez. "Not just passively. It's actively trying to interface with human neural patterns. I don't think these aliens created it at all. I think they're just trying to collect it." Rodriguez watched through the station's remaining cameras as the alien ships moved into attack position. They were methodical, precise, and utterly predictable in their movements, almost like they were following a rulebook that had never been questioned. That was when she had an idea. "Dr. Chen, you said the artifact responds to human neural patterns. What exactly happens when it connects?" Chen's excitement was evident even through the static-filled transmission. "It shares information, but not like a computer. It's more like it's sharing memories, experiences, I think. I think it might be teaching us." Rodriguez smiled grimly as she watched the alien ships continue their perfect formation. "Then let's hope it can teach us quickly. Because we're about to find out if humanity's talent for improvisation can match up against the most advanced technology in the galaxy. As the first shots were fired at Europa Station, no one, human or alien, realized that this wasn't just a fight over an artifact. This was humanity's audition for a role on the galactic stage, and they were about to give the performance of a lifetime. The UEAS Defiant wasn't supposed to exist. Built in secret beneath the red sands of Mars, she represented everything humanity had learned about space warfare in the last 50 years. Not that they'd fought any real battles. Until now. Captain Marcus Chen stood on her bridge, watching as his crew ran final diagnostics. The ship had been 3 months away from completion when the Concordat arrived. They'd finished her in 3 days, working around the clock, cutting corners that should never have been cut. But time had run out. Engineering reports all systems operational, Lieutenant Sarah Park announced from her station. Though Jackson says he'd feel better if we had another week to test the magnetic pulse cannon. Europa Station doesn't have another week, Marcus replied, studying the tactical display. The alien ships had surrounded the station, their strange crystalline weapons systematically destroying its defenses. Only the station's thick ice shields, a technology the Concordat hadn't encountered before, were keeping them at bay. The Defiant was humanity's answer to a question they'd been asking since they first looked at the stars. How would humans fight a space war? While other ships, like the UES Hyperion, were converted civilian vessels, the Defiant was built for combat from the keel up. But not combat, as the Concordat understood it. Status of the decoy drones? Marcus asked. All 30 loaded and ready, Park responded. Though I still think it's crazy to use experimental hologram technology in actual combat. Marcus allowed himself a small smile. The whole ship is experimental, Lieutenant. Might as well embrace it. He turned to his communications officer. Any word from the Hyperion? Captain Williams reports they're in position, came the response. Though she says, and I quote, "This is the stupidest plan I've ever heard of." Then it's perfect, Marcus said, because stupid is the last thing they'll expect from us. The Defiant's first combat action wasn't an attack. It was a magic trick. As the ship approached the Jupiter system, it suddenly seemed to multiply. 30 perfect copies of the vessel appeared, each one a holographic projection wrapped around a small drone. It was technology developed for entertainment, for zero-gravity theater performances in the Mars colonies. No one had ever considered using it for warfare. Until now. The Concordat ships reacted exactly as predicted. Their sensors, designed to detect energy weapons and shield frequencies, were completely fooled by the simple light-based deceptions. They split their formation, trying to engage what they perceived as a human fleet. They're launching interceptors, Park reported. Hundreds of them. Perfect attack formation. Marcus nodded. Time to show them why predictability is a weakness. Deploy the chaff. The Defiant's next surprise wasn't a weapon at all. It was garbage, literally. Thousands of small pieces of metal, each one carefully shaped and treated to reflect sensor signals. Mixed in were fragments of the station's crystallized communication array, collected by EVA teams after the first attack. The result was chaos. The Concordat's interceptors, flying in precise formations, suddenly found themselves in a cloud of conflicting sensor readings. Their automated systems, unable to distinguish real threats from false ones, began taking evasive action against shadows. Concordat formation is breaking up, Park reported, excitement creeping into her voice. Their interceptors are scattered. Main ships are trying to regroup, but the sensor ghosts are playing havoc with their targeting systems. Marcus leaned forward in his chair. Signal the Hyperion. Execute Phase 2. Captain Williams had spent the last 2 days using her ship's mining equipment to plant surprises throughout the debris field around Europa. Now, on signal, those surprises came to life. Electromagnetic pulses, designed to free ore from rock, instead played havoc with the Concordat's sophisticated electronics. Mining lasers, recalibrated to new frequencies, sliced through alien armor that had been optimized to defend against energy weapons of much higher sophistication. Multiple hits on Concordat vessels, Park reported. They're trying to return fire, but their targeting systems are completely confused. They can't get a lock through all the interference. The Defiant itself remained hidden among its holographic doubles, using the chaos it had created as cover. Its weapons weren't the most powerful in the battle, but they didn't need to be. They just needed to hit where the enemy wasn't looking. "Sir," the sensor officer's voice was urgent, getting some strange readings from the station. "The artifact, it's active." On the main screen, they could see it. The mysterious sphere was pulsing with increasing intensity, its light somehow visible even through the station's walls. And with each pulse, the Concordat ship's movements became more erratic. "They're receiving some kind of signal from it." Dr. Chen's voice came through the comm system. She'd insisted on staying with her discovery. "The artifact. I think it's rejecting them. Like it's made a choice." Marcus watched as the alien ships began to withdraw, their perfect formations forgotten in what almost looked like panic. "Send word to all human ships," he ordered. "Press the advantage. Don't let them regroup." The battle that followed would be studied for years to come. It wasn't just a victory of humans over aliens. It was a victory of creativity over convention, of adaptability over rigidity. The Concordat had expected to find primitives. Instead, they found a species that turned entertainment technology into military deception, mining tools into weapons, and garbage into tactical advantages. As the last Concordat ship retreated from Europa's orbit, Marcus received a transmission from the station. Dr. Chen's face appeared on his screen, her eyes wide with excitement. "Captain," she said, "you need to see this. The artifact, it's showing us something. I think this was a test. And we just passed." The artifact's message changed everything. Through a series of vivid mental impressions, it revealed a truth that shook both human and Concordat civilizations. It was one of many tests scattered throughout the galaxy by an ancient race. These artifacts were meant to identify species with the right combination of intelligence, creativity, and ethical judgment to become guardians of the galaxy. The Concordat had found their artifact centuries ago, but failed the test through their aggressive response to other discoverers. Now, humanity's defense of Europa Station, specifically their use of non-lethal tactics when possible and their emphasis on protecting civilian lives, had triggered something within the artifact network. But the Concordat wasn't ready to accept this reality. Multiple contacts entering the system, Lieutenant Park announced on the Defiance bridge. "Much bigger than before. I'm counting at least 30 capital ships." Captain Chen studied the tactical display grimly. The Concordat had returned with what appeared to be their main battle fleet. The holographic tricks that had worked so well in the first encounter wouldn't be enough this time. "They're broadcasting," communications reported. System-wide transmission. The alien message was clear: surrender the artifact or face extinction. They gave humanity 6 hours to comply. In response, something unprecedented happened. Ships began arriving from every human colony and settlement in the solar system. Mining vessels, research ships, cargo haulers, each one modified in ways their designers had never intended. Humanity had spent the last week preparing for this moment. "Fleet Command is online," Park reported. "Captain Williams of the Hyperion is coordinating civilian ships. Europa Station reports their ice shield modifications are ready. And, sir, you need to see this." The tactical display showed a new group of signatures approaching from Mars. 5 more ships of the Defiance class, built in secret facilities across the Red Planet. They weren't fully completed, they weren't properly tested, but they were crewed by humans who refused to back down. "Dr. Chen is requesting to come aboard," communications added. "She says the artifact showed her something we need to know." Within minutes, Dr. Chen was on the bridge, her eyes bright with excitement despite the looming threat. "The artifact doesn't just respond to human neural patterns," she explained. "It enhances them. It can create a network between human minds, allowing us to coordinate in ways the Concordat can't predict. A tactical neural network? Captain Chen asked, immediately grasping the implications. More than that, Sarah replied. It lets us share not just thoughts, but instincts, creativity. The human ability to improvise and adapt, multiplied across an entire fleet. The next few hours were a flurry of activity as volunteers were connected to this unprecedented network. Ship captains, tactical officers, even civilian pilots, all linked together through the artifact's ancient technology. Not a hive mind, but something uniquely human, a collaborative consciousness that preserved individual creativity while enabling perfect coordination. When the Concordat fleet arrived, they found something they had never encountered in their thousands of years of space combat. The human fleet moved like a living thing, each ship acting independently yet part of a greater whole. Civilian mining ships used their industrial cutting beams in concert with military weapons, creating gaps in Concordat defenses that other ships instantly exploited. The modified ice shields of Europa Station, now replicated across the human fleet, proved devastatingly effective. The Concordat's crystalline weapons, designed to transform matter into brittle crystal, instead created additional layers of defensive ice when they struck. Each failed attack actually strengthened the human defenses. But the real surprise came from the artifact itself. As the battle reached its peak, it began to pulse with a new kind of energy. Similar spheres, hidden in other star systems, responded in kind. Across the galaxy, other artifacts activated, creating a network that humanity instinctively knew how to use. Multiple anomalies detected, Park reported, her voice filled with wonder. The artifacts, they're creating some kind of space-time distortion. Through the neural network, every human in the fleet understood what was happening. The artifacts weren't just tests. They were tools, meant to be used by species who proved worthy of them. And humanity had just unlocked their true potential. Captain Chen felt the collective realization ripple through the network. They didn't need to defeat the Concordat fleet through force. They had a better way. All ships, he ordered, knowing each commander would understand the plan as soon as he conceived it, prepare to execute Maneuver Delta. Let's show the Concordat why the artifacts chose humanity as their guardians. The next phase of the battle would demonstrate to the galaxy that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their weapons. It was their ability to think in ways that no other species had imagined. The real test was just beginning. Through the neural network, every human connected to the artifact felt it. A surge of knowledge, understanding, and possibility. The space-time distortions weren't weapons. They were doorways. The ancient race hadn't just built a test system. They'd created a transportation network spanning the galaxy, waiting for a species with the right combination of traits to unlock it. Multiple apertures forming, Lieutenant Park reported, her voice steady despite the unprecedented events unfolding around them. The artifact network is creating stable wormholes throughout the system. The Concordat fleet, already unsettled by the unprecedented coordination of the human ships, faced a new impossibility. Their sensors showed spatial anomalies appearing at seemingly random points across the battlefield, defying their understanding of physics and strategy. But through the neural network, there was nothing random about it. Every human ship captain could sense the pattern, could feel how to use these new tactical options. It wasn't just strategy anymore. It was instinct, enhanced by the artifact's ancient technology. All ships, execute Maneuver Delta, Captain Chen ordered, knowing each commander already understood the plan through their shared connection. Show them what humanity can do with a little help from our new friends. The human fleet moved like a school of fish, each ship independent yet part of a greater whole. As the Concordat fleet fired their crystalline weapons, human vessels slipped through temporary wormholes, emerging at unexpected angles. The space around Europa Station became a dance of light and shadow, with human ships appearing and disappearing in patterns that no tactical computer could predict. But it wasn't just about evasion. Through the neural network, Dr. Chen had discovered another truth about the artifacts. They're not just transport devices, she explained, her excitement reaching everyone connected to the network. They're teaching tools. Each time we use them, we understand more about how they work and how to adapt their technology. The Concordats' first indication of this came when their crystalline weapons suddenly stopped working. Human engineers, sharing insights through the network, had figured out how to use the artifact's energy to create interference patterns that neutralize the alien technology. We're receiving transmissions from multiple Concordat ships, communications reported. They're asking for clarification about our capabilities. Through the neural network, Captain Chen felt a collective smile spread across the human fleet. The aliens weren't just confused, they were fascinated. Their rigid, hierarchical society had never encountered a species that could adapt and innovate so quickly. Then something unexpected happened. On one of the Concordat ships, an alien mind touched the network. Their rigid thought patterns at first clashed with the human collective consciousness, but then began to adapt, to understand. They're not evil, the alien thoughts conveyed. They're trapped. The Concordat, we forgot how to change, how to grow. Our society became like our crystal weapons, perfect, precise, and utterly inflexible. More alien minds joined the network, drawn by curiosity and a growing realization. The artifacts hadn't rejected the Concordat. The Concordat had rejected change. But now, through contact with human consciousness, they were beginning to remember how to adapt. Captain Chen felt a new plan forming in the collective consciousness. Not just human now, but a hybrid of human innovation and Concordat knowledge. All ships, hold position, he ordered. I think we're about to make some new friends. The space around Europa Station, moments ago a battlefield, became something else entirely. Human and Concordat ships maneuvered side by side, exploring the capabilities of the artifact network together. Where human creativity met Concordat precision, new possibilities emerged. Sir, Park reported, a note of awe in her voice, I'm detecting artifact signatures activating across the galaxy. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands. Through the expanding neural network, every human and now many Concordat minds could see it. A map of possibilities spreading across the stars. The artifacts weren't just a test or a transportation system. They were keys to unlocking the next stage of galactic civilization, waiting for species who could work together, adapt, and grow. The real revelation wasn't about technology or power. It was about perspective. Humanity's greatest contribution wasn't their ability to fight. It was their ability to change, to help others change, and to turn enemies into allies through understanding and innovation. As the combined fleet began exploring the new possibilities before them, Captain Chen realized that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was about to change, and humanity would help lead the way, not through force, but through their unique ability to imagine new ways forward. 1 month after the events at Europa Station, the solar system had become the center of a galactic renaissance. The combined knowledge of humanity and the Concordat, enhanced by the artifact network, had opened up possibilities that neither civilization had imagined alone. The Defiance Bridge, once a military command center, now served as a hub for this unprecedented collaboration. Captain Chen watched as human and Concordat scientists worked side by side, their minds linked through a refined version of the neural network that preserved individual identity while enabling seamless cooperation. The transformation is spreading faster than we anticipated, Dr. Chen reported, her holographic form appearing beside him. She was currently aboard a Concordat vessel near Alpha Centauri, studying newly activated artifacts. More species are joining the network every day. The galaxy is waking up. Through the neural link, Chen could feel the truth of her words. The artifact network wasn't just connecting space, it was connecting minds, cultures, and possibilities. Humanity's gift for adaptation and innovation, combined with the Concordat's precision and accumulated knowledge, had created something entirely new. "We're receiving a priority transmission from the Concordat High Council," Lieutenant Park announced. "They're requesting permission to establish a permanent embassy on Mars." Chen smiled at the formality of the request. Through the neural network, such diplomatic niceties were almost obsolete. Everyone connected could feel the genuine desire for cooperation and growth. The Concordat was changing, rediscovering their capacity for evolution that centuries of rigid thinking had suppressed. But the real breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A group of human children, naturally included in the neural network due to their presence on various space stations, had started experiencing something new. Their developing minds, unburdened by preconceptions, were interpreting the artifact's knowledge in ways adults hadn't considered. "They're not just tools," a young girl on Europa Station had realized, her insight rippling through the network. "They're seeds." The artifacts, it turned out, weren't just a test or a transportation system. They were incubators for a new form of civilization, one that could transcend the physical and mental barriers that had kept species isolated and in conflict. The ancient race hadn't just left behind technology. They had left behind a path to evolution itself. "Multiple new signatures detected," Park reported, excitement clear in her voice. The children's insight, it's triggered something in the network. Across the galaxy, dormant artifacts were awakening, responding to this new understanding. The space-time corridors were transforming, becoming more than just transportation routes. They were becoming bridges between minds, cultures, and possibilities. The Concordat fleet, once poised to destroy humanity, now worked alongside human ships to explore these new frontiers. Their crystalline weapons had been repurposed, using the same matter transformation technology to create rather than destroy. Where they once brought destruction, they now helped build installations to house and study the growing network. "We're receiving requests from 17 different species," Communications announced. "They all want to learn what the humans call thinking outside the box." Through the neural network, Chen felt the ripple of amusement at this uniquely human phrase. The Concordat had already adopted it, their language evolving to incorporate human concepts of creativity and innovation. Dr. Chen's hologram smiled. "The artifacts didn't choose humanity because we were the most advanced or the strongest," she said. "They chose us because we never stop asking, what if?" The view screen showed a new vessel emerging from Mars orbit, the first of a new class of ships designed by human and Concordat engineers working in harmony. It wasn't a warship or a research vessel, but something entirely new. Its hull incorporated both human adaptability and Concordat precision, powered by technology derived from the artifacts, but improved through human innovation. The galaxy was waiting for a species that could bridge the gap between order and chaos, Chen reflected. "We didn't just pass their test, we rewrote it." As he watched the new ship begin its maiden voyage, Chen felt the truth of humanity's role ripple through the neural network. They weren't just explorers or warriors or diplomats. They were catalysts, bringing change and growth to a galaxy that had stagnated in its separate pieces. The artifact near Europa Station, where it all began, now pulsed with a steady, warm light. It was no longer just a tool or a test. It was a reminder that the greatest victories don't come from destroying enemies, but from transforming them into friends. Humanity had proven that their greatest strength wasn't in their ability to fight, but in their ability to imagine and create new possibilities. And this was just the beginning.